Because if you're seeing us, that means you got a case of the Mondays.
Why would you say that? That's so dismal.
Because here we are. It's not dismal.
It's dismal.
It's Mondays.
Like,
It's Monday. I feel like we're the. Hopefully, we're a small beacon of light at the beginning of your week.
That's
and
a great way to put it.
You've made it to the end of the first day of said week, and hopefully
that is true.
It sets the tone for the rest of your week, which could either be great or horrible. It depends.
You're 3 tins in on a 6-packer, just ready to listen to Keller type.
Oh, yeah, he's probably already lurking somewhere, hiding out in the shadows. But
he's such a good job of that.
Yep, he's real good at lurking like a creep. But we're here. It is Snakes and Stogies episode 221.
Yes.
Brought to you by blackboxcages.com. Hunt them down. Facebook, Instagram. You need a rack, you need a cage. Go shop around, see what they have to offer. You won't be disappointed. Use the code THN24 at checkout. Get a little bit off your order. There's a pickup option. Save even more. Jet on up to North Georgia. Grab your stuff. Take it home. Set it up. Put your animals in it and enjoy it for a lifetime. For eternity, even. Not even just a lifetime. For those things, I'll bet you they'll survive if we got hit by a comet or an asteroid or something.
All right, tornado.
Those black box cages would make it.
Yep.
Roaches, Dollar Generals, and black box cages.
That's it.
That's what remains.
The American way.
So please go check them out. And then Cold-Blooded Caffeine, best coffee around. We got that Snakes and Stogies blend. Rwanda and Mexico meet up together.
I've been trying to think of a contraction.
Try that.
It's delicious, but I've been trying to think of a contraction of like Rowexican.
That's what we're rolling with.
Is that what we're rolling with? Okay.
Mexonda? I don't know.
Mexonda. I like Mexonda better.
Mexonda. Yeah, that's a little sexier. I like it.
Check that out. That blend and many, many, many others to pick from coldbloodedcaffeine.com. And then fulviusapparel.com. You need a hat. You need a shirt. I'm going to run a Halloween sale, I think.
Yes.
I keep saying I'm going to set it up.
Yes, good.
It's been, I don't know. I've been slacking lately. I've not been doing my due diligence.
It's that time of the year, man.
I don't know what it is.
You got to mentally prepare yourself for the holiday season.
Yeah, you got to gear up. Got to start planning for Black Friday. Cyber Monday, whatever. That whole weird parade of a 2-week period where there's some weird reason to have a sale, even though you could do them at any point throughout the year. That's just Thanksgiving is the kickoff point for the superlative of sales throughout that week. But
I don't remember who I was talking to, but I've worked retail my whole adult life. I don't think I've ever shopped on Black Friday. I've always worked it.
I'm not fighting somebody over a TV, man. I'm not getting stabbed for a PlayStation. It's not happening.
No, definitely not. No bueno.
Yeah, definitely not.
Not worth it. Not standing in line for 8 hours.
I feel like everybody does their shopping online these days, though. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, absolutely. At least on the East Coast, for sure, dude. Amazon's pumping. And do they open up that new facility up by you on was it on Beeline? No, yeah, on Beeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember where Moroso used to be? Now it's like this the Moroso racetrack. Palm Beach Raceway or whatever. Yeah. Now it's like this gigantic Amazon compound
warehouse. Yeah.
That's where they had the
you could order something exactly. You could order something and it'll be here like the same day. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Sometimes people expect us like to be like that.
What do you mean sometimes? Dude, working retail?
Oh my God, it's crazy.
I ordered this gecko about 4 hours ago and I have no tracking yet.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many of those emails I get.
Yeah, or better yet, I ordered this gecko at 3 a.m. West Coast time. It's 6 a.m. East Coast. Where's my tracking?
Not even in Memphis yet. What the hell?
Yeah, exactly. What do you mean there's no ice? I got to drink this coffee hot?
So FullOfHisApparel.com, THN at checkout, get 15% off your order. The exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. My gift to everyone. Hoodie weather here. I don't know about you, Phil, or you, David. It's cooling off down here.
It's not
nicely.
It's all right.
It's not. So, we're tropical. It's not.
It's like 78 degrees outside right now.
Yeah.
I mean, for Florida, it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice tonight, like opposed to last night.
Yeah.
But yeah. I did for those of you wondering, the Hood Tats Cobra logo is now available on venomexchangeradio.com. Should you feel that you wanted to get a hoodie that has a cobra on it and don't want to buy one of Smitty's, venomexchangeradio.com. Check it out.
I will not be offended if you do that because it's awesome.
Thank you.
And actually, it's such a stupid reason to feel that there's competition in shirts and stuff because it's like, guess what?
There's not.
Everyone has to have more than one because there's multiple days in a week. Sometimes I go through 2 shirts a day because I'll get home from work, smell like paint thinner or something for some reason, and got to change. So
faux show.
Buy them all.
Faux show. Yep. Actually, I fucked up. I don't know where my Tiki's Geckos shirt is.
I fucked up. I'm not even wearing it.
Dude, that electric blue one I have so many pictures of me herping in that shirt. It's
I know.
Yeah.
I think on my website I have a picture of you like holding a moccasin or something with that blue shirt. Yeah.
I love that blue shirt, dude. I literally was like, I was scrambling to like set my laptop up and all that because obviously it's a smoking show. We're outdoors and I don't leave this stuff outside. And I was like, fuck, man, where's that shirt? And like, I was like, I can't do this. It's 8:30. I can't keep looking for this shirt.
You're good.
But great segue. Tonight, ladies and germs, we are joined by David, also known as Tiki of Tiki's Geckos, Golf Clap Tiki. What's going on, bro?
What's up, man? Nothing much. Just over here getting ready for a baby next week.
That's epic, man. You guys know the sex?
Yeah, it's gonna be a boy.
Okay, all right. I was kind of hoping you'd be like, it's 1.0.
There you go, 1.0. We're proven breeders.
1.0. Yeah, you are proven breeders. That's true. We'll put that on your deli cup. Congratulations to you. And got names or no?
Yeah, Roman.
Love it.
Roman, yeah.
That's good. Good shit, man. Good shit.
Yeah, we're excited.
Obviously, Smitty, you want to dive into tobacco stuff? I feel bad. David's Wi-Fi was poopy and he's inside, but
look at this.
What do we got? Oh, look at that.
An ashtray with Tiki's Geckos on it.
That is cool.
I found some guy on Etsy that that he would do like custom ones. I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm gonna get a custom one with my logo.
Hell yeah, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, and this is what I was gonna smoke tonight, but obviously my Wi-Fi was acting up outside, so I'd rather do this podcast indoors. But
Perdomo.
Yeah, Perdomo, yeah.
Love it.
Maduro Perdomo.
That's a 10th?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's like a what's that one's a no, that one's a Corona. It's a Maduro.
Yeah, Maduro. Yeah.
But you just said that.
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah. Well, tonight I broke out one recent restock Monte Cristo Habana.
Nice. I like Monte Cristo.
See, it says Cuba on the side, so it's special.
That's how you know it's real.
That's how you know it's real. That's how you know it
has to be from Cuba.
That's how you know it's already cracking.
Yeah,
because it's actually Cuban. So I
making a frozen milkshake.
Yeah, we're gonna find out in a minute. I actually because it's cracked and like some of the leaf peeled, I was like, oh, what the hell? So I took some tap water and just kind of on the side, and it held up until I came outside in the humidity, and it was like,
yeah.
So we'll see. We'll let it up in a second. Smitty, what are you smoking?
So I walked around the shop for I don't know, what felt like an eternity trying to find something that I have not smoked either in a very long time or I just have not had yet.
Yeah.
And I ended up settling on El Rey del Mundo. I think it's a newer one they came out with. It's called Ico.
Nice.
It's not bad.
I've never had theirs.
Now that there's a Cuban
brand overall for me, but
there's a Cuban line that's El Rey, and I want to say it's either owned by Monte Cristo or what, but that's the same brand but Honduran.
Honestly, I haven't even looked up the blend on this.
Okay.
I've had it maybe 2 times since Raj brought it in, but
okay.
it's good size. I need to look that up actually while I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, good stuff, boys. Well, yeah, for those listening, we're joined by Tiki, and it's a long time coming, man. You and I have known each other a long time, and we're happy to have you on, man. It's great.
Thank you, bro. It's about time.
It's about time. I know. And it's just good, man. It's good. It's good stuff. I'm bummed you're not smoking, man. It stinks.
I know. I was really hyped up to smoke my cigar, have the little podcast and stuff, but
Well, what I'm going to do is I have yet to see the facility. So I'm going to invite myself over. I'll bring some sticks. I'll bring the Snakes and Stogies blend, and we'll do
that'd be perfect. Sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll wait till after you have a hatch, your child hatches, and we'll go from there. But do you want to give us a rundown for the listeners who are unfamiliar with Tiki's Geckos?
Yeah, so basically, we breed mostly New Caledonian geckos and other species of like lizards. We do a lot of blue tongue skinks, obviously all your crested gargoyle, lychees, kahua, and all that. But we're just reptile lovers, man. We just started. It's me and my best friend Manny that kind of like I started the business, but Manny came on pretty early on, and we've ran this thing. Now I have my whole family working with us. So we got my wife, it's my brother, my dad, Manny, and I, and it's a team of just 5 people. But we just love what we do. This is like a passion of mine since I was a very young kid, and when they say living the American dream, this is exactly what they mean. So.
That's awesome, man. And our buddy Anthony from Cold Blooded Gems, he's in the group chat, and he's like, "That man's the reason I have 200 geckos." So there you go, man.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's super cool, man. And dude, I remember back when Underground were you working at Underground when it was in the subway?
Yeah. No. Sorry. I mean, I would be at Underground all the time when it was at the subway because I would ship through them.
Okay.
But I started working for Underground once they went to the warehouse.
The warehouse, yeah. So all right, let's clarify too. When Tiki and I say subway, it was not an actual subway with like a train. So Underground Reptiles retail store is in the strip mall, and 2 doors down from the retail store was a Subway sandwich shop. And their lease was up and they moved out, and Underground needed to expand for online sales and just have kind of like a mini baby warehouse. So that's where all the online stuff started, was in a abandoned Subway restaurant. And man, I just remember you and Manny in those cubicles of the warehouse, and it was a long time ago, bro.
Crazy. Like looking back at it now, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe how fast time flies.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah, man. And like things we did back then, and animals we had, animals we saw, animals we moved, like, dude, it's crazy. And like how some things have gotten better, some things have gotten worse, some things have stayed exactly the same,
Yeah.
So, but now you have your own epic facility, and man. You want to dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, so I started the business in my mom's garage when I was living back at home, like right out of high school. And I just started by acquiring geckos and growing my breeding stock. But eventually then Manny hopped on, and it got big enough where we're like, okay, well, we could actually rent a place out. So let's go. We're looking for places, and we actually got a little like villa in North Lauderdale that was owned by Manny's aunt. So she kind of like knew the deal. She knew what we were doing, and she decided to let us rent it. So we were there for, we were there for
landlord ever.
But exactly, because you don't have to hide anything from them, and they know exactly what you're doing, and they support what you're doing. So it was a blessing. And when we were there, we were there maybe like 3 or 4 years, and we joke around. We called it the Gecko Trap House because it's kind of like in not the best area.
But, I remember it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it was like all over the place with like it was like in a little apartment type thing with like cages everywhere and like the kitchen and like outside in the yard we had like chameleon cages and everything. But eventually, through this business. I was able to buy my first home, and just because obviously of what we do, we working with animals and everything, I decided to move up to like out like in the country basically, at least as far as Florida goes. And I built my facility here. So I have on my property, I have about 1.25 acres, and I have a couple buildings, sheds with the animals that need to be indoors, and then the rest of the outdoor caging and outdoor animal screen cages for the animals that live outdoors. But we got so much space too that we could expand. We could start with new species. We could just like it was a lot more room to breathe and grow.
Yeah, of course.
It was that was about 3.5 years ago that we moved out here. So it's been awesome, man. I owe it to like a lot of people, and just the effort that it takes to get to a spot like this with all this kind of like running smoothly. It can only be done with a group of good people.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. And dude, like watching you blossom, man, it's awesome. Now, the real question is, does your wife let any animals in the house?
My wife, I got to keep the animals out of the house with my wife.
Nice, nice.
So she before I met her
you with everything.
Yeah. So she works with us, but before I met her, like her whole life, she's been into rehab work with Florida Wildlife and all that stuff. She's worked at Flamingo Gardens, and when she was young, she actually her school had a contest where the Steve Irwin Zoo in Australia held a contest in the United States, saying, make a video telling us why you love wildlife. So there's entries from all over the United States, and she happened to win.
That's awesome.
She got flown out to Australia. She interned in Australia Zoo, and she got to meet, a lot of good people over there. Got to work with a lot of like elephants and like all sorts of animals. So she's always been into animals. And nowadays she works for me, but she also does like her rehab stuff on the side. So she'll like right now we got like 4 opossums that are being rehabbed. And then they eventually will be released. We got like chickens, duck. We've gotten like all sorts of things that we get through here because she does a lot of rehab work. So sometimes I'm the one who has to say, "Hey, no more! Like, don't put those animals in the house."
That's great, man. That's great. Yeah, I just imagine you like getting in bed and there's like 3 possums in bed with you, and you're like, "Well, what the hell?"
Like that. Something like that. Yeah.
And she's just looking at you like, "Babe, it had to happen."
Yeah, like she cannot see a hurt animal or like if she's driving down the road and there's like an injured animal on the side, she will literally make me stop and grab the animal where I'd be like, damn, that sucks. But I keep driving.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's her.
That's great, man. That's so great. I love it. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, it has been wild watching everything grow and stuff too. I mean, I started out dabbling in cresses and stuff for a while, and seeing you guys just start with mostly geckos almost exclusively, and then expand over the handful of years and stuff. Now it's been seeing the Daytona table, grow and get bigger and offer more and more. It's been awesome to see that.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, I think we started. I love geckos. I love crested geckos and gargoyle geckos and all species of geckos. But in reality, I just love all reptiles and animals. So in the beginning, I was very limited to what I could keep because of where I was living or the condition. I was in my parents' house or wherever. Right. But now that I have my own property and I could build big cages outdoors, I could do a lot more. So it's like, it's really like, I joke around. It's like Pokemon, man. It's like you got to catch them all. You want to like one pair of every little species or whatever. So it's really addictive, this hobby, honestly.
Yeah, man. I remember going into the house in North Lauderdale, and I was like, man, what are in all these exos? And you're like, oh, those are all lychees.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? You're like, yeah. There's like 2 or 3 lychees in each one of those. We're breeding them right now. And I was like, oh my God, man, this is wild. Yeah. And then like you had that little thing, that little like island thing in the kitchen. There's just a gurnia.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you got a gurnia? I remember you were like, yeah, don't get too close. And I was like, why? And like I turned and they just go and they're gone.
Yeah. It's super skittish.
Yeah, man.
That's
super cool. Super cool. So you started with like New Caledonian stuff, and then what was the next, like, because you and Manny both have your own stuff, and then you have stuff that you joint operation on, you know what I mean? Like I know like mostly the Taliqua stuff is his, right?
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
Okay. And then like you've got more New Cal stuff, or like how do you guys focus on a project? Like I'm trying to formulate my words.
Decide what projects.
Exactly.
How that's going to get divvied up, and then who does what, and
so it really is based on like what we like best. So I mean, I like blue tongues, but I wouldn't have an operation as big as we do if it wasn't for Manny, as far as the blue tongues go. So I take care. So, well, as far as like who does, like Manny takes care of most of the animals in the property. But when it comes to like the breeding or the projects, like, deciding where these projects are going to go as far as what's breeding with what and things like that, I take care of all the geckos. And he takes care of all the blue tongues. Now we do have species, like random species, like we have the rough-throated Australian leaf-tailed geckos, or like some Dumeral's boa. We're like all over the place sometimes, some species. And it's kind of like a mix of, sometimes it's what he likes, that he wants to like breed, and sometimes it's just what I like and what I want to breed. But yeah, so it just depends. We have so many different species right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's definitely cool to see you guys, like, and I keep harping on it, but like I just watching the timeline in my brain.
Yeah.
And like now I see the Instagram videos of like the yard and like all the flight cages, and like, dude, it's awesome, man. It's just so cool.
Yeah. No, it's been a fun journey for sure.
Are you guys pretty much back to normal post tornado?
So, as far as like shipping and everything, we've built the cages that we needed to, that we had like animals in tubs basically that needed to go outside. We built all those cages. The animals are back outside. There's still, we just got a bunch of screen cages donated. So there's still a few screen cages that we have, for example, like groups of day geckos that need to go in like 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot screen cages that are still like in smaller screen cages. But in the meantime, everything that was a priority, that was urgent, is taken care of. And the rest of it's going to take time, like figuring out the yard and like where everything's going to go again, like building new cages and changing things up. Yeah, so that's going to take some time, but everything that was priority, like I said, is done now.
Awesome. Excellent.
Yeah.
The way that, like, so for example, I have my protocol for storms, for venomous and the ROC stuff and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Do you guys stage things similar to that? Like, do you say, all right, you know what, we're 2 days out and the storm looks like it's coming our direction? Do you just start dealing in stuff now? Do you wait until you kind of wait till, I don't want to say the last minute because that sounds bad, but you know what I mean? Like, wait till you get a little more news, and then do you have like a garage or something that you can like wheel some cages in, or how do you go about prepping like that?
Yeah. So for this, so what we typically do is, like, if we know for a fact we're getting hit with a hurricane, we'll bring all the animals in, right? So we put the animals in tub, like some of those big enclosures with, like, 4 big adult redfoots and then like a big rhino iguana or whatever. We'll put all those animals in tubs, and then we'll put them in the sheds, and we'll wait till the storm passes. And as far as the screen caging goes, we'll we have all the screen cages, or we had all the screen cages basically strapped down to a base that we made with, so the base has like a 2x4 running over the top, and we strap them down to that and the bottom. And for this past storm, which we weren't even gonna be hit, like the hurricane was going to pass over us.
Yeah,
it was going to go across Florida and pass over us, so we were just going to get a tropical storm. So we didn't put everything inside. We put a couple things inside, and looking back at it now, it's pretty crazy because there's a section in my yard in the back where it gets like a little bit flooded, and we were thinking, like, I mean, should we bring them in? And we're like, fuck it, let's just bring them in just in case it floods. Not even that, it doesn't even flood that much where it will cover the whole cage or anything. The animals will be fine. But we're like, let's just bring them in.
Yeah,
all those cages got crushed. Then we had other iguana cages that I honestly, I don't even know why we brought them in, because we were just like being extra cautious when we probably didn't. Well, looking back at it, we should. Good thing we did, but because it was a tropical storm, like any other tropical storm, we would have left them out there because they got their hides. They could go in there and shelter from the rain and everything, and they'd be fine. But obviously, we didn't know we were going to get hit by a tornado, so we happened to bring those animals in, and those cages got flung to my neighbor's property. So they would have been done. The screen cages, most of the animals in the screen cages were all in there. So we got hit by the tornado. The screen cages got wrecked, but they basically all got pushed down. So they didn't get flung anywhere because of how tied down they were and how they're like anchored to the ground basically, but they all got pushed down, and a lot of them had like, the frame was like twisted or the screen broke. But as soon as we went out there the next day and we're looking through everything, basically everything was still in there just hiding. So we were able to cup everything and just, have it inside until we managed to figure out new caging for them.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it was crazy. Like literally, like we would never, like we almost never for a tropical storm bring in those iguanas or the other animals that their cages got flung. So yeah, and obviously the gecko house had a big tree collapse the roof, but there's a big attic, so it didn't really affect. There was a bunch of geckos that dropped their tail, but it didn't like affect the main area where they are actually at. Like we still had the AC. The roof was collapsed in the attic, and we had to fix that because it was raining and water was getting through. But the next, like pretty quick, we put a tarp over it, and then now it's fixed. I paid some guys that came and did the roof. But yeah, so anyways, to go back to it, we do have a protocol, and it's basically to put all the animals indoors. And if it's like a really bad hurricane, we'll even put all the screen cages indoors. Like we have the space.
Yeah.
So, but if it's just like if it's like a normal, regular tropical storm, we typically leave stuff outside because they're in secure caging,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I figure most of the stuff that is in outdoor cages, they're used to storms like that anyway, because they're mostly tropical species as it is, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's so with these animals, it's good for them to get a little bit of that like stress that they would feel in the wild, you know? Like now I'm not gonna make them go through a real hurricane because I don't want to risk losing them, like the animal dying or anything. But the changes in weather, like for example with chameleons, a lot of people. So like when we get those big temperature drops, like into the 50s or in the 40s, we leave a lot of chameleons outside because it benefits them over the long run, especially with some of like the mountain species.
Yeah.
To have those really cold drops, it helps them rest better and it helps their immune system. So a lot of people try to pamper their animals too much and they forget that they're animals, and you know, a little bit of stress is good for their immune system.
1000%.
That's great. And so lucky, man. Like, so great that you did that. Who'd have thought tornadoes, man, right?
Bro, I've been living in Florida, I mean, like 20 years. I've never seen anything like it. And they said on the news, multiple people were saying there's the most tornadoes at once in Florida's history. Like they've never seen anything like it.
Because it was the same here. Like I'm in South Carolina, just over the Georgia border on the coast, and this year in particular, with what we got, you know, it seemed like there was an abnormal amount of tornado warnings and watches and stuff like that. And I always just kind of wave them off because it's like, I think in my mind it's like Oklahoma tornadoes. Really what it is like these smaller, I won't say like micro tornadoes, but basically a bunch of smaller ones that kind of touch down, go for a handful of yards, and then, you know, dissipate and whatever. And like those still do a good bit of damage. I mean, there was a house down the road from us that had multiple pine trees taken out and snapped in half, and, you know, one of them fell on their house, and they're destructive. But it's weird, and my wife's super paranoid about the tornadoes every time we have a hurricane nearby.
Listen, bro, I will never ever underestimate Mother Nature again, man. That was really scary. You just feel completely helpless. The feeling of like, because we happen to be indoors watching the security cameras, and we see like my hedges. I had like 8-foot hedges, like clusia, and those clusia just snapped down with such force, and I see like cages just go, and like it all happened so quick, and the sound was crazy. So I just grabbed Daniela and the dogs, and we just like run into the bathroom. But it all came and went like in less than 30 seconds. It was crazy. It's like boom, boom, quick. And it was in the middle of the day, no rain. Like if I was outside, I wouldn't have had time to run indoors. Like it was so quick.
Yeah, man. And I think the one that hit by you, they were saying it was like 300 yards wide in diameter. That's like, it was 3 football fields wide. That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's so big. So you could go down one of my roads here in our neighborhood, and you could see there's a row of Australian pine trees, and you could see where the tornado went through, because it's like all these are like flattened, and then they're like back up on the other sides. It's crazy. It's insane, dude.
Absolutely wild.
And you go two streets down, it's like nothing happened.
That's wild, man. Absolutely wild. I'm glad to hear that you guys did the right thing, and you didn't lose nothing, and you didn't have any issues besides some drop tails, you know, which everybody loves a frog butt anyway, so who cares? Life goes on, man. That's good, man. That's good.
You guys ever have any issues with like raccoons with your outdoor stuff? Because I'm always curious. I know like Casey Cannon has talked about wanting to keep Brettles pythons. He's in North Georgia, like keeping Brettles pythons outdoors and stuff. And it'd be cool to do it with some species here, but I'm just so paranoid about raccoons just doing their thing, because I've seen what they'll do to chickens, and it's brutal.
So
about that with stuff here.
So early on, we had a raccoon kill one of our chickens and one of my neighbor's chicken, but my neighbor, like within the day, found the raccoon and killed it. Like savage. Found it, like he was like searching all day. He found it and he killed it. And then We haven't had any raccoon incidents since. And knock on wood, we haven't had rats or raccoons or any predators have taken animals. Now they're in enclosures and they're 1 inch big, the holes. So I don't think, raccoons can't get through them, but certain other things like the screen cages, they can maybe break, but they're kind of like on stilts and they're so I don't know. But yeah, we haven't had any issues. So hopefully it stays that way.
Have you ever caught anything invasive or wild, native, whatever, in one of your flight cages?
In one of my what?
In one of the cages?
Oh yeah, of course. Well, there'll be night anoles. There'll be, I've caught so many cool things in my backyard. Not just invasive. I've caught corn snakes, black racers, legless lizards. What else? We've had invasive like turtles, like yellow bellies and that crap.
Yeah.
But all like in my backyard, like I really just go outside and there's something.
Yeah, but what I was saying is, have you ever like gone out to a chameleon cage and there's like a fat corn snake inside it?
Oh no.
Okay, all right. Cool.
Not in. There'll be brown anoles, but that's about it.
Yeah. That's fine. We'll deal with them.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then I know you guys aren't doing tegus anymore, but you guys, I know you have the redfoots and you have yellowfoots too, or?
We don't have we don't have breeder yellowfoots. We do sell yellowfoots. Like we have a group of yellowfoots right now, but they're animals that are like yearlings that are for sale that we bought to sell.
Are you doing any more like pen stuff? I remember you guys had the tegus in the backyard of the other house, and like you had these big giant wooden pens, and I didn't know if you're doing anything similar like that.
Yeah, so we have our rhino iguanas. We have basically cyclura and redfoots. That's as far as like big pens go. And we have the blue tongues outside now. Like most of the blue tongues are outside, so they're I guess those would be considered pens as well. But as far as like bigger animals go, probably just like the cyclura and redfoots. And so
very cool, man. Very cool. Did you guys produce cyclura this year or no?
Yeah. We produced Lewisii hybrids and rhino iguanas.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Literally like 3 days after the tornado, we hatched our rhino iguanas.
Oh, that's so cool, man. That's so cool. What was the storm?
Do you think keeping those outdoors? Was it Milton?
What was the name? What was the name of the storm? I would say you got to name one of the rhino iguanas, Milton.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But what you asking?
Keeping those outside, do you think you're likely to be more successful by doing that than trying to breed them indoors? Like, do you think it makes it easier?
100% for the rhino iguanas. For 100%. Even honestly, even redfoots, like we joke around like the eggs that we collect from the redfoots and we put in the incubator don't hatch out as good as the ones that hatch out in their enclosure. So it's like we might as well just incubate them outside.
How often do you find baby redfoots just walking around out there?
So in the enclosure, we'll purposely leave them there, and we'll find them every now and then. We used to find them more so in the last place we were in the gecko trap house, in their pens over there. But in this new enclosure, we've only done it once. We've collected most of them, but we're saying like we're gonna build like different enclosures that we could just be sure that nothing would ever get out, or in.
That's good
for
stuff.
The baby redfoots, yeah.
Good stuff. That's cool, man.
What's
that, Smitty?
Said one day.
Yeah, Smitty was gonna get a redfoot and it
got shot down.
Yeah.
They're the best, man.
So I'm told.
Dude, I remember just underground and like the horse troughs with all the redfoots and just diesel loaves of bread, just armored loaves of bread, man. It's awesome.
I've heard of them, like how Kenan has his setup. You've seen his setups where he's got like freaking 30 of those things just
no, I haven't seen that.
Like just gravitate towards them when you walk in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're so personal. Like out of all the tortoises or turtles, I think they have the most personality. They'll come out to you. They're not scared. They'll let you pet them on the head, and all they want to do is eat like all the time. It's awesome.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
If you live in Florida, you 100% got to get yourself some redfoots and put them in your yard.
Yeah, it should be mandatory, right?
Yeah.
Why can't we have that as an invasive, right?
Yeah,
that would have been awesome.
So here's a question that both of you could probably answer. If you have a gopher in your backyard and you just happen to build a pen around that burrow that was already existing, does that then count as you keeping it, even though you're like, it's a garden, it's a flower bed?
I don't know, man.
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah,
you know, there's
I have a gopher in my backyard. I would spoil the hell out of that thing and be like,
of course,
weird, prickly pears
There-
just randomly showing up at the entrance of the burrow. How did that get there? You know?
Yeah.
One of my so we're on this Facebook group of our community on that you know, it's called the Acreage Speaks, and everybody is on there. Basically, just always ask for, you know, referrals or whatever. Sometimes people post like lost animals for sale. And there's this one dude that has this gopher tortoise that lives like under his shed. And he'd be like, I mean, I know he's not supposed to do this, but he would take it and like go to the park and leave it over there, and it would find its way back like every single time.
Oh my God.
So he would grab it, he would drive to the park, put it in the park, and then go home. In a few days, the gopher tortoise would be back under his shed.
Oh jeez, man.
Every single time that gopher tortoise is like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Bitch, this fucking guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wonder, man, like if you happened to have a gopher burrow on your property, like I feel like feeding it would probably be against the law. I do.
I don't know. Dude.
I feel like it's like molestation of wildlife or something.
I'm just throwing out scraps from my fridge. Like I just have some strawberry.
Yeah, I don't know how they'll prosecute you for that, but
yeah, man, that's wild.
I don't know how this Missouri tortoise diet ended up here. It just I don't know. It's
like, you don't have any other tortoises, sir. Why are you buying this Missouri tortoise diet?
For the box turtles that I have. Yeah, in the yard next to me or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of box turtles, my buddy just texted me, and he knows what he's talking about. He just texted me. He's like, the neighbor found this in their yard. Should I tell them? And it was a video of the most beautiful baby box turtle you've ever seen in a giant Tupperware container of water. Just like, oh God, what am I gonna do? And obviously, it's fine. They can swim, but the person clearly thought it was an aquatic turtle.
A turtle, yeah,
like a turtle.
It's like that. Man. Like, you guys remember that viral video? I don't know if you ever saw it, but there's this girl found a tortoise on the side of the road, and she's like, rescuing turtles is my pastime, and then she throws a tortoise into the lake or whatever. It's like,
yes, it's like just a boulder hits the water. And then I remember there was like another video afterward. It was like, okay, he made it, and like the tortoise is like, son of a bitch, just like climbing onto the canal bank.
Yeah.
Oh, that poor guy.
That's funny, man.
I don't think I've ever been more uncomfortable than seeing that video of that sulcata swimming like it was nothing.
Oh, dude, how about what was it, Planet Earth, with the Aldabras that swim from like island to island? Isn't that crazy?
Dude, yeah, it's crazy. They would, so I forgot, I had it on, I actually did a YouTube video at Sam Pascucci's place, and he was telling me how they'd found like Aldabras that were like stranded in the ocean that had developed like barnacles and everything.
Really?
And they were out there for months, and they somehow would make it. They would be like fine when they get back to shore.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I don't want to butcher exactly what he said, but there's so many cool facts in that video, and I was like, damn, this video it didn't do as well as some other ones or how I thought it would. And I'm like just so fascinated by like all the Aldabra information and Galapagos tortoise information that this man has.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, so my fiance Anna Maria, she's in the group chat right now, and you sold her leopard gecko, her first lizard.
Oh,
and she just texted me. She's like, "He's who I got the leopard gecko from, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she just commented, "So what you're saying is I need a redfoot to complete my collection."
Yes.
Good for me, Anna Maria. It's
Thanks,
too late
guys.
for me. You can still save yourself.
Thanks. So you said you got some yearlings still, Tiki?
Yeah, I do.
All right, great. Oh, that's awesome. So you guys have a pretty great social media. Speaking of social media and videos and stuff, how do I phrase this? What came first, social media or the website? And then how did you get it to blossom just the way that you have, man? Because it's booming. It's crazy. I love it.
Yeah, so funny enough, my Instagram got deleted recently. But we do have on every platform we try to, push our stuff a lot. So our website, I from the very beginning, this was a business for me. So I knew like I wanted my website. I wanted to eventually just have people go directly to the website, and I have always known in the back of my mind, and especially like 3 years ago when they first took my page down, I was like, okay, well, I can't just rely on social media. I have to build my website. And when I say build my website, I mean like the the SMS, the email list, all that kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, especially with us reptile breeders or animal people, like Meta and these platforms aren't always on our side when it comes to the sale of animals.
They never are,
Yeah.
They want you to be a part of it and they want you to promote with it, but they don't want you to sell anything.
Yeah, and I'm not, the most frustrating part about it is that they don't even tell you why they ban you. So to this day, like they told me my account's permanently banned, and they don't say why. They just said because you violated community guidelines, and I'm like, what guidelines? So I don't know. It could be a number of things, but anyways, to answer the question is like the trick with social media, you obviously have to kind of like do a little bit of research and see what kind of goes viral, what kind of catches people's eyes. What I always tell myself when I'm making some content is like, what do I want to watch and what makes me keep watching versus keep scrolling, right? So that's what I ask myself, and I just try to like make it that without being phony or fake or without, damaging my integrity or whatever. But so once you figure that out, the true key, like I think everybody deep down knows, is just consistency. It literally is not, it's not like a secret recipe. It's just like consistency. Because if you post every day for a month and then you take off 2 months, the algorithm doesn't like that. Like it doesn't want to push people like that are inconsistent. I mean, think about it. If you hire somebody for you have a business and you hire somebody and this person shows up every day and then out of the blue one day doesn't show up anymore, that business is going to be like, well, I can't put too much stock in this person. So if you're somebody that's always posting at this time, always posting, and you give the platform a reason to keep you and to push you, that's what they're going to do. So it's just as simple as that. You just have to put some thought into it.
Yeah, man. Wise words. So then, yeah, you have YouTube as well. And I know you're still putting out YouTube videos.
Yes, YouTube is the best platform by far. As far as for content creators go, as far as like getting paid, and as far as like they don't ban you for who knows. Like in Instagram, if you get reported, there's people that will have an army of bots that will report you for one particular thing, and they will automatically suspend your account. Yeah. Nobody like looks over it to make sure it's legitimate. They just automatically suspend your account. And then I've gotten my account suspended 3 times. Every single time that I got it back, they said, "Oh, sorry, it was a mistake on our part." And it's like, well, like,
why does it keep happening?
Yeah. What? Not just that, but it's like, dude, I've put like 10 years, like more than 10 years into building this thing. Like, gotten a massive following, and then out of like a bot can shut me down. Like, it's not even like a person that's looking and saying, "Oh, this is wrong." Like, if they did that and they said, "Hey, we looked at your Instagram and we saw that you made these many sales and we're not okay with that," I'd be like, "Damn, all right. At least I could, at least I can go to sleep at night. You got me."
Yeah.
But the fact that it just like, who knows what happened? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Was it a bot was it a bunch of bots that reported me? Was it like, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Did you how many followers did you lose doing that? Having it taken down?
120,000.
And now you're at like 80, right?
No.
Oh no.
So I had a backup Instagram. That one's still up. I call it Tiki's Geckos 2.0. That one has 19,000 followers.
Okay.
But my main Instagram had 120,000 followers, and that's the one that's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, it's whatever.
That's tough.
Fuck Instagram.
Yeah.
It seems to be the case though on Facebook too, because I know some other people that they'll get spammed by bots that post like bad reviews on their page. It happened to Dylan Tenney at 8 Deadly Sins, the tarantula guy we had on Arachnids recently. Someone had some issue with him or something. It was completely personal, like not even business related. And they had, somehow you can get spam bots to leave bad reviews on a page, and there's no way of getting rid of those. And it's really jacked up. And of course, if you want to get a hold of a actual person at Meta, like, it's not going to happen. Like, I feel like the number of people they have that are like actually physically there working is, I think, way less than people realize. Like, it's not that many.
Yeah. For the size of the company, like, definitely.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I don't even, in the community, like in the gecko community or the reptile community, I would consider myself like I don't really have enemies. I may have people that dislike me for whatever reason, but I wouldn't say they're enemies.
It's just too good.
No, it's not. It's just like, I'm not out here like, when people create drama, or I'm always like out of that stuff. Like, I don't care for it. And I've never like felt that anybody would do something. Maybe people will say something bad about me, like, "Oh, his geckos are ugly or too expensive or whatever." But I never felt like somebody would have that type of malice to do something like that. I could be wrong. I don't think so, but I don't know.
You know what, man? Like, what's the saying? It's like, if everybody likes him, something's wrong with them. Something like that. I can't remember the saying. Yeah. You're going to piss off somebody. And, oh, well, they're a loss. And the majority of the time too, man, they're either jealous or they're envious or they're just a troll and they just want to poke people's buttons.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I think most people, especially, and not just this community, and anything in life, is like, they just choose to see one person's like imperfection or fault, and they don't look at anything else about that person, and they fail to see that they themselves have imperfections and faults.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So once you realize that, okay, this person did something that I don't agree with, but it is what it is. He's a person, and maybe I do things that other people don't agree with. Like, unless you got to have that self-awareness to see that, okay, we're not going to all agree on everything, right?
Yeah, for sure.
People are continually incredibly envious that I'm a former Abercrombie model.
Hand model.
Modeling that cigar.
Yeah.
You can help it if I have washboard abs 8 inches under a layer of fat.
Washboard abs, he means a river stone.
Yeah.
Oh man. But no, dude, those are great wise words, man. I think you hit the nail on the head there. And I actually just had don't want to say a bad comment, but it was the first time anyone's ever commented something on one of my animal related things. It was just like snide. And at first I was like, I gotta put this fucking guy in it. And I go to type it. I'm like, nah, it's not.
It never ends.
It's not. Yeah, it never ends. There's no point. It's keyboard commandos, you know.
Yeah.
And you might get that on the videos that I post on the channel here that aren't podcast stuff. Like every now and then I'll get someone that's like, that's not how this is done. And like at this point, I don't even respond. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
sure, whatever. You know, if that's the way you feel, I don't even respond. It's
dumb, man. It's dumb. And then you always
probably
get
12-year-old somewhere talking shit. Like I don't.
And you always get curious, and you're like, all right, who's writing this? And you look at their page, and like, they don't have any animals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they don't have any animals. They don't even have a pet of any kind. But that, I don't know. I'm going down a dark rabbit hole. Sorry, but
someone asked a question because I get questions on like the rhino rat videos and stuff that I've done and the chondro videos, and it's like immediately I respond to those and answer the questions as best as I can. But like someone who's just chiming in to fucking talk shit, like, nah, not getting the time.
Yeah, man. And I've seen you guys interact with customers at shows and like just hooking the kids in, man, and just taking care of kids and taking care of families, and like you guys just do a bang up job. And I can only imagine that for lack of a better word, customer service that you guys show and that you give at a show like Daytona or even a local show, I imagine it's the exact same thing online. And I feel like that's it. That's a huge push. Yeah.
Our customer service is impeccable. I think that's one of the areas that these other gecko breeders or reptile breeders can't touch us on. And if you see, like, if you go onto our reviews, Facebook or Google, we have hundreds of reviews and we probably have 4.9999 stars. You know, there'll always be like one or two persons that are dissatisfied with something, but for the most part, like we're on it. Like my wife is really good at that. She'll, when an order comes in, she calls them, she makes sure they're ready to receive, she makes sure they're ready to care for the animal. Then once they get it, she calls them, make sure that like we're on top of it. So to your point, like that's something that's really important to us and we take it seriously.
Yeah, and I feel like that goes such a long way that people talk and they say, oh man, I got it from Tiki's. You got to get it from Tiki's. Oh, this guy knows his stuff. These people are wonderful. Check out their YouTube, check out their Instagram. Like, and it snowballs, man. And I feel like I just love watching that. I love it. You know what I mean? You and I don't get to bullshit at Daytona as much as I'd like to, but I walk by, I do my flyby and I'm like, are they busy? Oh, they're always busy. There they are. Look at that. Look at that. Look at those guys work.
He's not at the Snakes and Stogies gazebo.
He's not at the Snakes and Stogies gazebo. Sad panda. But yeah, no, I think it's good, man. I think you guys have a killer way of doing things, and I am envious of the YouTube, man. I'm trying to reach out on YouTube more with like the Venom Radio stuff, and I know we have a really good YouTube following through the network, and it's cool, man. I just love it. Like I don't got words. That's it. I just dig it.
Yeah.
So. Well, it's just interesting too how like with YouTube in particular, like we're talking about all the different platforms and stuff, it's talking about consistency and posting and stuff. It's really interesting that if you post consistently and like you were saying, your content is good and it's not bullshit and people can tell that it's genuine, even if it's on like a subconscious level. You post consistently and stuff, everything else kind of just follows as a result. Like it just kind of happens without forcing it. You know what I mean? Like you just keep posting consistently, and as a
everything
byproduct of that, like you get more sales because people are now following and interested. Like when people are sharing videos and stuff, that increases engagement and reach on social medias. Like it's sort of all encompassing. It's all sort of tied together in a weird way to where it's like, if you really just keep doing what you're doing, everything else is going to come with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It just, you get what you put into it. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's well said, man. Well said. Well, Going back to animals, you got a ton of species. Do you know how many species you have that you currently are working with?
And no, I don't. And probably somewhere in the ballpark of like, dude, I don't know, like 35 or something.
Okay. All right, that's a lot of different species because it's not just one of each.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the other question is, you guys never do any snakes anymore?
We do. I mean, we sell a lot of different species, but as far as like our breeding stuff, we have like a group of Dumerals that we breed. We have we've bred ball pythons before.
Naturally.
We have Manny's starting to get into the boas, so that's one of those things that like he took a particular. I've loved boas always, but he took a particular interest in like the genetics and stuff. So he's gotten a couple here and there. I think our first breeding season with boas is going to be 2025. But not too many snakes. No, we're mostly lizard people.
Yeah. I get that, man. I get that.
Yeah.
And so are you guys still majority cresty and morphs, or has it kind of shifted into other things?
It's pretty broad now.
Yeah, I feel like it's not just new cow stuff.
No, it's not just new cow stuff. I think as far as we do mostly crested and gargoyle geckos. Of course, we do lychees as well. We do. I think I don't know. I can't think of anybody else that breeds more blue tongues than us in Florida. We might be the biggest in Florida. I'm pretty sure that we're the biggest in Florida because even some of these big like wholesaler companies, they never really offer northern blue tongues like that. Mm-hmm. And another thing, we breed a lot of like jeweled lacerdas, even though next year we're gonna downsize a little bit. Yeah, it just depends. Like honestly, some years we bring in a little bit more. We see how the market is, and then if it's like too much for us, or like we're keeping too many back of those animals, we'll be like, all right, well next year let's cut back a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I think you guys and probably, I mean, maybe Ron St. Pierre. I can't think of anybody who has that many blue tongues.
Yeah, no, and Ron and Heather, they have a lot, but they don't come close to what we have. As far as like amount of animals. Yeah. They have really nice stuff for sure. Yeah. But we have more animals than them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know back when you guys had the North Lauderdale house, I think you guys had close to 100 adults as it was, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's insane, man. And I remember you guys showing me morphs and just, it's so cool. And now they're outside. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, and they do awesome outside, dude. It's crazy. Like, that's cool. I mean, it's not crazy. It's actually common sense. But, there's a train of thought that people would say, like, it's too humid out here for them. And you definitely don't want to keep them in an area that they're going to get, swampy. Flooded or swampy. But if you have them in the right area, you could they'll thrive, man. They do great.
Yeah, it's super cool, man.
We've had females that never produced before or just slugged out like 3 years in a row, produced like this past year. This was the first year we kept them outside. And everything that was outside, we, produced great, better than it has before. So excellent. We're happy with it.
Have you guys noticed a appetite increase or decrease because they're catching bugs outside?
So there's a lot of stuff outside that they eat, but we have, to be honest, that's something that is more of a Manny question, just because he's the one who feeds them. Yeah. So I'm not like on it and asking him, are they? I know they're eating well and everything, but I'm not sure if they're eating more or less. They might be eating more because it's just hotter.
Sure.
I think he has mentioned that they're just going through the food, but or that he has to feed them more. But yeah, it's probably because it's just hotter. Like their basking area, because they're in an area in the yard that it gets full sun during the day. Now they have somewhere to escape the sun, but if they want to bask, like it's like 120 degrees right there,
right
on the platform. So
that's awesome.
And are you going to keep them out there over winter too?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I feel
I think if it gets like below 30 or in the low 30s, we'll bring them in, but in the 40s for sure.
Yeah.
Australian species can handle the cold a lot better than we think.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. And you said you've only had them outside for this year. Obviously, you haven't had any babies walking around yet, but are you planning on just getting a grab female, bringing her inside, and letting her lay indoors, or are you gonna let it go al natural like the redfoots?
No. It's there. This past season was our first breeding season outdoors, and they gave birth outdoors. But the enclosures are completely sealed. We have it's screened on the bottom. Like there's no way they get out. So when they all gave birth, we would just see them in the enclosure. And blue tongues as is, they're not like, they'll kind of like hide and burrow under stuff, but they're not like digging like a rhino iguana to get out of, or like a sulcata or something, you know. But they're all indoors, and we basically see the babies just everywhere in the enclosure, and we just go and collect them.
That's so cool, man. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine walking out in your backyard, walking over with your plate of blue tongue chow, and you just see there's like, oh, there's 20 of you now.
Babies. Yeah.
That's
pretty
so
sweet,
cool, man. So cool. So how do I phrase this? What's your favorite thing to work with these days?
Dude, crested and gargle geckos to this day.
Still to this day.
Yeah. Well, like as far as like breeding projects of like, because I love morphs. I love I know there's like the people that love like the wild type look and the morph people. I like all of it, but I just really like the morphs. Like I like creating, as long as they're healthy and stuff. I'm a big advocate for like just producing healthy quality animals, and I would never. There's certain morphs that kind of like question the morality of breeding, but I don't personally, I don't touch those. But as far as like the potential and colors and mutations, crested and gargle geckos. As far as like just reptiles in general, I really like, not that I'm gonna breed them, but an Asian, like we have a black dragon.
Oh, nice.
And they're just so smart and so much more than like a gecko. Like they can give so much more than like a gecko or others. They're so smart. The rhino iguanas are pretty cool too when they're tame.
When they're tame, right?
But yeah, dude, I just love like what I could do with geckos. Like I could take something, like visualize it, and then in a couple of generations make it happen.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. And how do I phrase this? How many eggs are you pulling a day with just the cresties? Are you getting like a clutch a day, or do you have it, or do they kind of sync their cycle up, or
Oh my God, dude. We have like 500 breeders.
Okay. Wow.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So I don't know. You do the math.
Yeah. But so you're pulling eggs daily.
Oh yeah, of course.
And that's all year round, or is it still seasonal?
It's pretty. There's definitely a season, but certain females, if they're like well fed and just on top of their protein and fat and calcium, they'll literally produce all year.
Wow.
They may slow down a little bit, but for the most part, they produce all year, man.
That's so crazy. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine having 500 geckos, let alone having to pull eggs daily and then have stuff hatch out at the same time. It's wild.
Yeah, and that's 500 adults. That's not like babies and juveniles and grow outs and future breeders and all that.
What's your take on sort of the ebb and flow of people saying the crested market is oversaturated? I feel like that's something people have been saying consistently for several years now, but at the same time, like the same people that are saying that are the same ones that are still breeding. So it's like it can't be that saturated if it's not stopping you from doing it, you know. So has it been consistent as far as sales go for the last, like when I was in crested, that was like circa 2017. You know, has it been fairly steady as far as cresteds? Like that's still something that people are buying up like crazy. Have you seen it kind of ebb and flow a little bit?
So there was, when we went through COVID, there was a really big spike in price and demand. Like it was crazy. It was inflated, like way too much. So there's animals that people,
So stimulus checks.
Yeah. And it was also just, it was around the same time that Korea was starting to get into them, and they were literally paying whatever you asked for. People were selling like $18,000 crested geckos, and it's not like a new genetic mutation. It was just like a really nice gecko. And the Koreans were buying it. So that is what kind of inflated the prices, because, you know, now Americans were having to compete with the Koreans, but the Koreans were out buying everybody. So everybody was selling the nicest stuff to Korea. So, and because of this crazy pricing, people started seeing that and they're like, oh, I'm going to get into gecko. And we had an influx of new breeders. So now we're after maybe, you know, I would say 2023 and the beginning of this year, for sure, the prices just completely crashed. And a lot of people got out, and it was really hard to sell geckos. Now it's starting to pick back up, but you're not ever, I don't think, going to see the prices that you saw at peak COVID years.
Right. Yeah.
But it should have never been that expensive. It's just like, you know, one of those things that it got too inflated, and people were kind of like blowing up this bubble, and then eventually it just collapsed on everybody. And people spent, you know, $25,000 in geckos, and now those same geckos, like a year later, are selling for $1,500. So that kind of like turned off so many people, and it's kind of like purged a lot of the people that weren't meant to be here out.
Serious about it.
So yeah, and I always tell, it sounds so like corny or cliche, but it's like true. Like if you don't like the species, or if you're not into this particular morph, do not work with it, because the market is a cycle. And geckos, literally, like geckos 10 years ago that I would sell for like $50 now are selling for like $500. Like the same morph, the same exact gecko. So, you know, it's just a cycle. And so the people that got in and were expecting, oh, I'm going to make money and I'm going to do this, that, the other, like those people are always going to lose, because they're not doing it for the right reason. Don't come into the animal industry and think you're going to be rich, because it ain't going to happen. I mean, it might, but it's you might have to compromise your morality a little bit. You might have to compromise a couple things. So I don't think it's the right way to, I don't know, whatever. That's a different topic.
And we've seen it. I'm jumping in halfway, but we've seen it with other animals too. And like, you look at ball pythons that were 25,000 and now they're $350.
Yeah.
And you look at the opposite, where something that was like Mexican black king snakes, they were $30, maybe $50 if it was like a designer line or something. And people produced so many Mexican black kings that everyone stopped. They're like, oh, I don't need to breed them this year. You know, I don't need to breed them. Tiki's breeding them. And then Tiki says, I don't need to breed them. Smitty's breeding them. And then Smitty's like, I don't need to breed them. Phil's breeding them. Meanwhile, I'm not breeding them. And now all of a sudden there are no Mexican black kings. And now they're $400 a baby. Yeah. And then the next year, everyone's like, oh shit, did you see the price of Mexican black kings? They're up to $400.
Breeding them. I have a pair.
I should start breeding them. You know, I've got a pair. And then all of a sudden now they're back to $50. So again, it's like you said, if you don't love the animal you're working with, then don't breed it. Don't do it, you know?
Yeah. So the crested market, I think because of how easy crested geckos are to reproduce, it's always going to be very competitive. But if that's where the way to, outcompete people is not necessarily produce the most, but produce the best stuff. So you really had to hone in on what you like and what you want to do and try to breed the best you could possibly breed. Because if you're breeding like regular Dalmatians or pinstripes or Harlequins or whatever, there's 50 other people at a reptile show that are doing that, and you would not believe how people start competing and lowering the price and
to the bottom.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And you're a lily white guy, right?
Yeah, I love lily white.
Yeah.
I'm an all morph type of guy. I love all the morphs, but I love lily whites in particular. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
were we gonna say, Smitty?
There was when I was breeding them, and granted I hit about the 60 to 80 gecko mark with babies and stuff at a point, and I was like, I'm going back to snakes. I got to the point where I was, spending hours every weekend cleaning and stuff like that, and I was like, I got to go snakes. But I did notice a divide in people that were wanting like the higher end stuff, that were breeders looking for things to add to projects, and then there was the people that didn't want super high end geckos. They just wanted a crested. And there wasn't a whole lot of in between. Do you still see that? Is that still something that exists? Or
yeah, definitely there is. Yeah, because I think you have the hobbyists that want that nice morph, and then you have the people I just want a cool pet, and the people that are in between are really hobbyists that don't have as much money to spend on that like really high-end gecko, which is fine. So because some of your best pairs aren't always going to produce, super high quality animals. You'll have, animals here and there that you could sell for cheaper. But yeah, you still have that.
It killed me because you had people that were saying that's a pet quality crested.
Oh yeah, that's
a breed quality crested. I'm
kills
like, what does that
bro.
even mean? It's like,
yeah, people don't know. Most people don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they're all the same exact. Like they could all be the same exact good pet. Like it don't matter. Takes the same amount of money or money and effort to care for a $2,000 gecko than it is a $50 gecko.
Yeah,
it's true. The same exact things can happen. It eats the same food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it was a weird crossroads too, because you'd get people that would post in the groups. They'd have a pair of relatively unexciting looking cresteds, and they'd be like, I want to breed these, and people would immediately be like, the market's saturated, don't breed them, those are pet quality geckos.
Those are.
And it's like, if the market's that saturated, then why are you still breeding? Like clearly it ain't that saturated because it's not stopping you. It's just I hated that so much. It killed me.
It's saturated for you to breed, but not for me. Like I could still breed. Those people are just that drives. I mean, Facebook groups in general are just like a cesspool. Like
freaking devil.
They're just like the most craziest social warrior freaking people ever.
Yeah.
But I just think that why are you gonna try to control what somebody else does? And honestly, like my first pair of crested geckos that I bred was certainly not it was Petco geckos.
Right.
So like you're not gonna expect a newbie to invest $2,000 in a pair of geckos and breed them for the first time. That's not gonna happen. People have to start somewhere and then gain their confidence and see if that's something they want to do, and go from there. So people like that just don't have perspective.
It was just one of those things where it's like, I can't in good conscience tell someone they can't or shouldn't breed when I currently have 10 geckos paired up. It's like, what?
Exactly.
Like, are they going to have a hard time selling it? Like, should they know the realities of what they're getting into as far as like the number of babies and how difficult it might be to actually move them? Like, definitely. But to sit there and tell someone like, you shouldn't do this oh, by the way, here's like 5 pairings I'm doing right now. Check it out.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, to me, it was just like, I can't even have input there, you know?
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Get the fuck out of here. Oh man. Yeah. Exactly. So do you ever figure out the lineage of your Petco geckos?
Dude, never. They probably came from Reptiles by Mac or something.
They probably came from Strictly like everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never forget. I don't know where the hell I was, but I was somewhere and someone's like, "Oh man, I got this king snake from Pet Supermarket or whatever," and it's like, I really wish I knew the lineage or like what mom and dad looked like. I was like, "When did you buy it?" They're like, "Oh, I bought it this year." I was like, "Oh, so that means that Jay was supplying the reptiles for that branch. So let me call him." And I call Jay, and she'd be like, "Oh yeah, I bought them from so and so's." And I call so and so, "Hey, did you produce a bunch of these babies this year?" "Oh yeah. Well, the mom was a such and such, and the dad was a such and such." Then I got to tell that person what the lineage was of their snake from Petco,
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, which I do think it is interesting though. Just going back to the whole, oh, that's a pet grade, or that's a breeder grade, or that's a fucking museum grade, whatever. I feel like there's a big divide with there's reptile people that want to know the lineage for their own personal enjoyment. There's reptile people that want to know the lineage because they're trying to make a buck or whatever. And then there's people that don't care or want to know or anything. And I feel like maybe the more engulfed we get into this community, into this hobby, at least for me, I'm just sheer curiosity. Who produced it? What did mom and dad look like? All that. But it is super gratifying to know that you have that knowledge. You've been doing this so long that what mom and dad were, what grandma and grandpa were, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's a huge deal, whether the person wants it or not. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think it's particularly, important when you think about the morphs and stuff and you think, oh wait, something weird popped up here. Let me trace it back. And then you see maybe a trace of it in the grandparents or something. And then you could, oh, okay, well, then you can start working different projects and working it in. But if you don't know, it's like, okay, well, you're starting from scratch.
For sure, man. For sure.
Oh. What species of Strophaurus are you guys doing stuff with?
We never bred Strophaurus. We had a Ciliaris, and another species, but we've had them here and I've sold them.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to work with Ciliaris. I just right now it's not the time for us, and I will eventually. But I remember I have a very vivid memory when I was a kid. On a reptiles magazine, I saw like on the cover it was like Strophaurus. I forgot the ones with the blue mouth. I don't remember. I'm not good with
gimme something.
I don't remember. But anyways, it kind of like always stayed with me, and I was like, dang! From when I was a very very young kid, I always wanted to work with them.
Such a cool group.
Yeah, I love them. So hard. Like some of those species are really hard to find. Ciliaris is more common, but everything else is super hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Teniata? Tenacata? Yeah. I never remember the
Teniata. I think there is a Teniata, and then
I don't remember.
Is there?
I don't know. Dustin Grant's gonna listen to this and scream at us through the phone.
You say Teniata, I'm thinking of Bronia.
Oh yeah. You guys still have any Bronia or no?
We have Lithokyla.
Nice.
Yeah.
Still producing or just pet stuff?
So we're gonna try to produce them this year. Yeah, we're gonna put them outside soon.
Very cool. They'll do great, man. They'll do absolutely great.
Yeah.
And then I know you guys had dabbled or contemplated knobtails. Has that gone anywhere or no?
No, mostly because like right now, I don't want to get any new projects. We have some barking geckos. I don't know if you would consider, like, do you
Yeah,
consider
sure,
those?
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, okay. Some
Knobtail
people are like,
No,
those are
man.
like the the ugly stepchild
No, man.
for
No,
knobtail
dude.
people.
It used to be Nephris, man. Underwatersaurus is still an Knobtail in my eye.
Okay, cool. All right. But yeah, we have some groups of those, but I did want to get uh the rough, and I like the, I don't know their scientific name. Levy? Is it Levy?
Yeah, levies.
Yeah, the levies. Those
Yeah,
are the ones that are albino too, right? That people
yeah.
have
So
albinos of.
yeah, levies is pretty much
Levies.
mudded
That's
out, and
a.
then levies pilbarensis is the one that has the
Oh, the
albinos.
pilbarensis.
Yeah,
Yeah, the pilbarensis. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
and then you
Yeah,
have
those are cool.
occidentalis that nobody really has in the U.S. I mean, they say they do, but they're so mudded up with pilbarensis that who the hell knows?
Yeah.
There's a handful of guys that I would actually can trust that they said, "Oh, I've got occidentalis because I kept it in the side corner." You know what I mean? I kept it on the side burner and didn't mix things up. But
yeah. Do you still have any?
I do. I had Underwatersaurus Millie. I went up. I just had too much stuff, man, and I wound up giving those to Billy Hunt, and he's gonna work with them. He's probably gonna breed them this year, and then I just have Cinctus left. So I got a good group of Cinctus. So,
Nice.
but I didn't pair anything last year or the year before, just because I was moving and just time, and you gotta be there for the eggs, because I hate saying it, but I've lost so many eggs because I was a day late. And I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to check the girl, and then I look and there's just this crusty egg. Like, oh damn.
That's another thing. That's why I'm not like rushing into it yet, because I know I don't have that time to do that yet.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I don't mean this to be insulting or derogatory, but they're not cresties. You got to be on it, and
yeah.
So I'm with you in that regard. But the whole goal for me was honestly to just breed some of the, I hate to say it, breed some of the cheaper stuff like Cinctus, and I fell in love with Cinctus. I just like banded stuff.
Yeah, Cinctus are cool.
Yeah, and then use that money to try and get more species. But dude, it's tough, man. And like I always attribute it to my room conditions. And there's some of our very close friends in Miami who are fucking killing it with knobtails, and they are more attentive than I am, and their room conditions are a lot better than mine is. And now my room is honestly a barren, arid wasteland desert room, and it's we'll see what happens. So
I'm Team Asper.
Oh yeah, Asper. Yeah,
Asper, man.
Dude, Asper the coolest, man.
Yeah,
I need to hit the lottery.
Northern Gecko breeds them, I think.
Yeah, oh for sure.
Do they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and our buddy Justin in the Panhandle, Meekers, dude, he's got some killer Aspers, man. Yeah. Just jet black with neon purple, like just crazy velvet eyes.
Yeah. Everything he does is just.
I know. We got to get him on, man. He's got to get on the show too.
He's a tough one.
He's a tough cookie. Yeah.
Very, very secretive.
Yeah. He is an elusive character, but that's cool, man. It's cool that you want to get into Strophs, man. Yeah. And I feel like you almost can't have Aussie Leafs and not have Strophs too.
Yeah, know? I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So that's cool, man. I think
we will eventually.
We
will eventually.
What about Europlatus?
No Europlatus either. I've messed with them in the past, but Europlatus are another species. At least the Fantasticus and the Sicerae, which I like the most. They're a little bit more like you got to be on top of them too. Yeah. And just because we have a system down for all the New Caledonian stuff and it works well. And because I'm doing so many other things, like I do, all the social media, like everything else, like you could think of like that you have to do in a business is basically what I do. Manny does most of like the animal stuff, like taking care of them. My brother takes care of like the New Caledonian geckos. My dad does cleaning. Daniela does the office. but there's just so much going on that I don't want to put another project on top of somebody, like another workload. And if I do it, honestly, if I want to, it's because I like them. So it's like until I have the time to like really, you know, go in there for an extra hour or half an hour a day or whatever it is, I don't want to create a breeding project around them. But, you know, Fantasticus and some of those have always been a little bit harder because we never had a designated like area for one type of animal, right? Like we kept Argurnias and then like crested geckos over here, so it was all in the same, you know, vicinity. So it's like if I need like a much cooler room if I want to keep some of the Europlatus I want to work with, and it just wouldn't work out.
Well, I mean, that's smart. You know, keep it to, if you have a workflow that's already sort of established and working, you know, there's no adding something to that. That's just going to throw that off or make it more difficult. So.
Yeah. And especially right now, there's so much going on. Like I can't.
Yeah, keep it in the same atmospheric. You guys had some fat tails. You still doing fat tails?
We don't breed them anymore. We do have them, like we sell them, but we don't breed them anymore. Fat tails are really fun. There's a lot of cool morphs and stuff. They're a little bit more finicky and picky than like leopard geckos, and they're not an animal that I thought was. They don't sell as well as I would like, you know. So that's why I was like, all right, it's not really worth it for us. I like them a lot, but
you think that's because of all the options that there are in leopard geckos currently, that
dude,
it just makes them a harder sell?
Dude, I don't. I mean, I guess because leopard geckos, I guess, look pretty similar and they're cheaper and they're hardier. I mean, not even hard. I mean, they're just like easier to get going.
Yeah.
But fat tails are like, I would say, even more docile than leopard geckos.
Yeah.
Like baby fat tails don't scream at you and stuff.
Yeah.
And like adult fat tails are always like so mellow and chill. But I don't know, for whatever reason, they just don't sell as well.
I always thought it was a color thing. You know, leopards have so many different colors and they're bright and they're vivid, you know, whether it's a carrot tail or albino or even just like the normal with the purple hues and the purple tail. And like, I like fat tails. In fact, when Anna Maria was looking at geckos, I was like, you really should get a fat tail. I'm just saying, you should get an Oreo fat tail and we can name it Oreo and be cliche. And she's like, no, I want the yellow one. It's cool. And I'm like, all right, whatever makes you happy. And she loves her gecko, but I think it really does have to do with the fact that it's more earth tones and drab and not as not
it's
as
the
pop.
To the jungle.
Yes, exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's the Brettles to the jungle. You got it.
Yeah.
If I was going to get into any of those, it'd be the Hardwicki. Those are cool. Ever since that magazine,
those are cool too.
Man, I see those and they stick out to me.
Yeah, they're cool. But all those other like leopard gecko species, they don't do well. Yeah. Only Macellarius or whatever. Like the Iranians don't sell as well. The West Indian, like nothing sells as well as those leopard geckos.
It's more niche. It's
leopard geckos.
Locality stuff in corn snakes. Snakes, you know, there's just the people that are into those are searching for them purposefully.
Yeah, exactly. I guess
it's a slightly different market, you know.
Yeah.
I would eventually love to get my hands on some Agurnia though, man. Phil put me onto those a couple of years ago, and now every time I see them, I got to drool. Like they'll have some at
awesome
at Daytona. Eric Kohler every year seems to have some. And I saw some at Daytona too.
Yeah, we breed a lot of Agurnia actually. They're very prolific. They're very prolific, and it's cool because they'll all like they have babies, and you could keep them all together, and they like hang out together, they eat together, they bask together.
Super really cool. Cute. You have Gidgies, right?
Gidgies, we do Gidgies and Cunninghams too.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
It seems like a really fun group to get into.
Well, you're not getting a tortoise, so you.
Well, yeah, it's a space thing. Like it'd be the same. I had the Ackies for a while, and then ended up just needing the space that the Ackies were taking up, and so eventually, if we get a bigger house or something, I'll definitely.
What did you put in the Ackie space?
I ended up moving the giant Cambro chondro rack that I hate to that space, and then the room Tetris, and just moved around. But I'm sort of actively in the process of downsizing on corns fairly heavily, and I'm mostly because I just feel overloaded, and I would like to get the Jansen I set up and get another 4-footer like we talked about, and sort of having a duplex setup with those. I'm just trying to sort of ring things back in a little bit. It's you go through these periods where you buy a lot and then you get to a point where you're like, how did I end up with half this stuff? And I'm not have plans for it, but I like it. So I'm kind of at that point now where I'm trying to go through rounds of cuts and things. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Hey man, I was gonna say, if you still got the Ackies cage, it would do great for a gurnia. You already got the lights, you already got the rocks.
John got the cage and stuff.
Oh, you gave him the cage too? Okay.
Yeah. I sold him the whole thing for relatively cheap, and then he ended up just hooking me up with a condo, a year later. So
nice.
It's worked out. But yeah, there's corn projects. I got sort of a mile wide and inch deep on those, and so I'm trying to really nail down what projects I'm fully invested in, and trying to sort of move some of the other stuff that's just non-essential at this point. And
yeah, you did kind of just cannonball off the deep
end. I did, dude. This freaking ADHD just went ham. So
how many corns you got right now?
Right now,
ballpark over 50?
Probably.
Okay.
I feel you, man.
That's with babies and stuff, though. But
yeah, but still a mouth to feed.
I'm just I want to. So my plan is next year, I might do one corn pairing, but I'm going to do Baird's again, and then I'm going to take the effort and energy that I would have put into doing more corn pairings to focus more on the Jansen and trying to get something happen there, because that was my plan this year and that didn't happen. So
okay,
we're gonna try and make something happen there, and then just have more room for rhinos and stuff too when those happen, because I'm gonna have 2 females next year for sure, possibly a third if I can get that other smaller female up to size, but I'm not pushing that too hard. So
yeah,
we'll see. Trying to make room for all them spiders and stuff too. So
oh yeah, dude, you guys have been
Pokemon, man. I told you.
Yeah, legit. If only you could just keep them in a ball, right?
Yeah, for real.
Oh man. So what other projects are on the horizon, man? I know you said you don't want to get more projects to pile on, but like I know you got stuff in the woodwork. Like, are you selectively lining some new cresty stuff? Is doing more iguana stuff? I mean,
well, yeah, with the crested, there's always like projects going and like new morphs that are coming about, especially the last couple of years. There's been a lot of new morphs that we're now working with. There's like the sables, there's the cappuccinos, there's
is that stuff that came out of other stuff? That so like you already had the ingredients to make it?
So the cappuccino is an incomplete dominant, and they popped up in Korea, but there was already people producing them here. Like a big wholesaler, Reptiles by Mac, was already producing them, and they were just wholesaling them. They didn't know like it was anything different, or they weren't. They don't pay that much attention to that kind of stuff. So a lot of people were popping them up here. And with the cappuccinos, it's an incomplete dominant. So the super form is called a super cappuccino, and it's like an all black gecko. But those have issues. Like they have really small nostrils. They don't develop well. They always have like some sort of issue. So people just breed like the cappuccinos nowadays. And when you start to mix them with like lily whites, you make like a really cool combination they call frappuccinos. So that's like a cool project we're been getting into more. Then there's like the sables and the sable lily whites. And as far as like with the gargoyle geckos, like we've been putting on so much red on these animals, and like the quality of the red, it's just insane. Like looking back at, 10 years ago, we like it's hard to believe how far we've come.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of like of that selectively breeding type thing with the gargoyles instead of like genetic mutations. And yeah, as far as like funny you said iguanas, because this next year we're going to be breeding a lot of banana spiny tail iguanas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
pectinatas. So
yeah.
we really really like those because they're a very manageable size. They're not like a 6 foot green iguana, right?
Yeah.
And they actually make really good pets. They're very easy to care for. They're very docile for the most part. They eat a lot of different stuff. So I think it makes a really good animal for the pet trade.
Yeah, I feel like they got a bad rap from all the wild caught adults and stuff. And people just need to know that it's different.
But the ones that you're thinking, the wild caught adults that you're thinking of are Mexican spiny tails or the black spiny tail that are in Miami.
Okay.
These are the banana spiny tail, which are the yellow ones. They're a little smaller and they're not as wild at all.
Okay.
They're very docile by nature. Now, obviously, you got to work with them like, anything else to get them like super duper tame, but it doesn't take much. Like they're very smart. They're docile. They eat a lot of variety. They're really bright and yellow. They can be very, very beautiful. So, and I just love them. I think they're such a good pet. So we're gonna breed a lot of those next year. We've had we've had animals that we've grown out for about 3 years, and this would be the breeding season coming up.
Awesome, man. That's super cool. Super cool to find I don't want to say find, but to focus on an animal that is going to be great for both the community, for the individual keeper, and catering to that. Like that's another thing that makes you guys awesome is like seeing the potential and deploying it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you definitely got your hands full coming up, bro. I love it.
Oh, dude, yeah. We're busy. We're always busy here.
Are you guys still either are you still or were you at one point heavy into Panthers, if I recall?
So yeah, we were in the very, I want to say like maybe 7 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot of different Panthers, but chameleons in general are very like, God, they're so hard just because they have so many babies. The babies are so delicate and the females crash really quickly. In 3 years, your adults will die, like your adult females will die when you breed them, at least.
Right.
Like, so it's really like, it's like tough, dude. Breeding chameleons is tough. Like, you got to be on point. You got to be on top of it, on the babies, like, because like you miss one day with the babies, that's it. They're dying. Like they'll start dropping left and right. And they're so delicate, like too much light, like too much water, like so many things can happen with them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not breeding chameleons anymore, but there's chameleons that we keep. Like there's like a particular chameleon that we keep here as a pet. And whenever like a friend comes, or especially people that aren't like, family or something that isn't into reptiles, like I love bringing him out because like there's nothing like a panther chameleon. Like the colors are so insane and just like it's so unique. It's such a unique lizard that when somebody sees it for the first time, it just like blows their mind.
Yeah.
So like I always like to have one around.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had that one at that educational thing we did last weekend, man, and it was like if that thing's eyes weren't moving, you would have thought it was fake. Like,
yeah,
it's just
so
unbelievable.
crazy.
Like the fact that those things are the color they are, it's like that doesn't make sense. It's awesome, but it's like it just doesn't look real.
Yeah, it's literally like if you were reading a fantasy book and you saw that animal there, you'd be like, that doesn't exist. Like, there's no way that exists,
So, do you still have Deadpool?
Of course.
How's he doing, man?
Dude, he's awesome. He's just as nice today as he was like 10 years ago.
That's crazy. So he's over 10 years old?
More kids than Nick Cannon.
Oh yeah, he's yeah, for real. He's way over 10 years old. He should be around like 15 years old now, actually.
Wow.
But yeah, he's like the longer time passes, the more special I realize he is, because I see all my other old red stripe Gargs age, and I see how they age, and I see how Deadpool ages, and I'm like, oh crap! Like I was saying, Deadpool was special before I even knew Deadpool was special. You know?
Yeah.
Like now I'm like, oh crap! Like I have like some of my, I remember like back in the day, animals I paid like $800 for, which was a lot back then. Still is a lot of money for a gecko.
Yeah.
And that were like so saturated in red and stuff. And I was like, this is so like my cornerstone animal. And like looking back now, I'm like, those animals have produced great, but like you could tell the quality of the red and how the red continues over the years is nowhere near the same. I have animals that if I showed you picture before and after picture, you wouldn't even think it's the same animal. It's insane.
Yeah, that's wild. Anyone who's listening to this at your next stoplight on your way to work, or when you get to your desk and your commute, whatever it is, go on Google, type in Tiki's Geckos Deadpool, and you will see the gecko we're talking about. It is absolutely incredible. Dare I say, the mascot of your company.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, it's just an awesome gecko. And we always talk about lineage in trying to diversify the gene pool, or just, you know, knowing what genetics are in there, or whatever. And you look at like the Morelia community, you know, you look at carpets, famous carpets that have names, you know, Molly Ringwall or whatever. And then you look at Bullwinkle, you look at chondra pythons and green tree pythons and famous names. There really isn't stuff like that with geckos. And then you got Deadpool, man. And like, dude, Deadpool's in that ranking of like reptiles that were so outstanding that they had a pet name and people knew it. You know, it was a quote unquote reptile household name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's awesome. It's so cool. I'm glad he's still kicking, and I'm glad he's still producing, as they say.
Yeah, he's still producing, dude. This year he's been killing it. Nice. Last year was a slow year for him, I think, because he's getting a little older. So, and I switched them. I gave him new girls this year, and he is fucking killing it, dude.
Good for him, man. Good for him. Who's better than him? Who's better than Deadpool? Oh, that's great. That's great.
What about Chewies?
Yeah, we do a lot. Well, not a lot of Chewies compared to some other people I know, but I have like maybe 6 or 7 Chewy pairs. So
a species that was at the top of the list when I was doing cresteds, but at that point they were still, you know, $1,200 plus.
Oh yeah. Now they're this is a really good time to get Chewies, actually, because they're super low right now. But yeah, I mean they're one of the best New Caledonian geckos in my opinion.
I just love the mossy look of them, you know.
Dude, yeah. Living tree bark. It's awesome.
Yeah, they're insane.
Yeah.
Never gotten the leechies though. Leechies never did a whole lot for me. Like they're cool. And Chris Painchab, you know, I've seen some of the babies he's brought to Daytona to give to Danielle and stuff, and it's been tempting, but I don't know. That was another one that I just never did a whole lot for me in comparison. Like Chewies were kind of the pinnacle for me with the New Caledonia stuff.
Yeah, I mean I like them all, but I gravitate more towards leechies because I just like their body structure more. I like a longer tail. I like more of a slender look. Leechies are like, they have like all this extra skin. Well, I like them too, but I could see what you mean. Like there's people in the community that's always been like a divide. Like there's the Leechy people and then the Chihuahua people.
For sure. I just remember that. I don't remember what show it was or what documentary or something, but they went to New Zealand. They went to New Caledonia, and they're like, "Listen," and you hear the lychees barking in the trees, and like then they pan the camera
beating the
over.
shit out of each other in the tree.
Yeah, just beating the shit out of each other in the trees, and then you pan over and like the branch moves because it's not a branch, it's a gecko. Like, and I just remember being like, man, this is amazing. And then I went to Tiki's place and I was like, holy shit, that thing is as long as my forearm. What is happening? He's like, you want to hold it? I'm like, sure. And then he just plops this thing. Little did I know that they're capable of ripping your face off. But that's a joke. They cannot physically rip your face off, children. But yeah, dude, your lychees are diesel. It's epic.
Yeah, dude, they're insane. They're like, I mean, growing up when I was first getting into it, that was like one of my big. I mean, they were so like unattainable at that time because they're expensive.
Yeah.
But now that I have like some monster lychees, it's like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, man. Yeah, literally the largest gecko. It's wild.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite Cresty over the years?
Who was my what?
Favorite Cresty over the years? Did you have an animal like similar to Deadpool? Was there ever a Cresty that was sort of in that same echelon of?
I have so many, dude. Like I can't just say one because I have so many geckos that are like that have built like my lines. So like with the Cresties, there's not one in particular that sticks out, but there is like, there's a couple lines that I can name that I'm like, yeah, those are animals were cornerstone that I still have, but I'm like, I'll never sell those animals. Like their last days are gonna be here. Like I owe those animals a lot. So
nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a line name for your stuff? Have you come up with the Tiki line yet?
Well, there's not like Tiki line, but there's animals that if they say, for example, like blackjack or like tiramisu or whatever, Chester, people know those animals are my animals. So not like no like particular mutation that I've named, but there are like lines that come from me that people know that are from my stuff.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And Patrick's saying that episode I was talking about of the show with the lychees was Mark O'Shea. I don't remember it being Mark O'Shea, but now I gotta go.
Second season then, because
we gotta look at the second season.
Finished the first season.
Okay.
I'll have to hunt that down because I'm curious myself now too.
I don't remember it being. I mean, I'm sure Mark O'Shea did an episode with it, but I don't remember it being Mark O'Shea. I felt like it was like some college research project that they filmed and then like BBC put it out or something. I can't remember. But yeah, I'll do some digging and try and find it, and we'll share that link because, dude, it was. I remember. I think I was in like middle school or something. This was a long time ago. But
damn.
Yeah, because
that was a long time ago.
I know. Old as dirt, bro. Yeah, just wait till that kid hatches out. You'll have some great.
Yeah, then I'll feel. Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Patrick said he just watched it 2 days ago.
Oh well, then. Thank you, Patrick. Rock and roll.
He knows.
I gotta get on Amazon Prime. I'm behind the ball. Oh man. Well, Smitty, did you have anything else you wanted to pick his brain about?
Cave geckos?
Oh yeah.
So the first time I saw a Japanese cave gecko, Phil showed me at Daytona at your table, like, was that 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
And
like
I thought that was the coolest
or something
thing I had seen in a minute because I
not
much of a lizard guy. It was something that wasn't on my radar, and then I saw it. I was like, that is badass.
Yeah, the cave geckos are dope. They're so we bred. I would say we breed, but literally, I want to say like 2 months ago, my AC went out on one of the sheds and it killed it got too hot in my female. I only had one pair of Japanese cave geckos, and the female passed because of that.
Jeez.
But so we would be breeding the orientalis, which is the Japanese cave gecko, and then Yamanashi, which is it's another Japanese cave gecko, but it's like a different locale.
Yeah,
and they're the yellow ones.
Mm-hmm.
They have like yellow and black, and those are really cool as well. I love those two species in particular. There's a lot of different species, but those are two of my favorite ones. And yeah, they're as far as like cave geckos go, I think they're just by far the best ones. The Chinese, there's a couple different Chinese species that are really good, nice, but oh man, there's nothing like an orientalis, especially when it's like just hatched out. It's just like bright orange bands. So sick.
Those were the red eyes, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, super cool.
Yeah.
So are you planning on getting more? You want to keep going with that or no?
Yeah, so I've been debating it because they're super hard to find, especially females. And I have that single male, and then I had two juveniles that are also male. Like that I had gotten thinking like, oh, I'm gonna put another group together, but they ended up both being males. So we'll see. Just have to. If I come across like a female, then yeah, I'll get another one and try to breed them again.
Yeah, Smitty, which ones does Chris keep?
Hainanensis.
Okay.
Hainanensis?
Okay.
Yeah, those are the Chinese.
Yeah.
There's also so we also have some Chinese right now. I could not say the scientific name, but it's like Bawa galensis or something like that. Bawa something. Yeah, those are really neat too. And we have some that we got from. God, who do we get them from? I don't know, but we have I have some right now, and I've been debating on keeping some back to breed.
You got to do it, man. Just do it. What's a couple more geckos, right?
Yeah, exactly. I gotta make up for that orientalis female I lost.
Yeah, right. Oh gosh, man. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I had I still have him, but I got a pair of vertebralis knobtails, and dude, I wanted vertebralis for so long, and I saved my pennies, and I found an internet acquaintance out in California, because that's like the land of knobtails, and I wound up getting a pair for a great price, and we communicated back and forth. He shipped me the geckos. I got them pristine, bro. Textbook specimen, perfect unbroken white stripe down their back, like awesome. And like 3 weeks later, the girl rolled, and I was like mortified. I was like, how did this happen? And like,
you got a taste of the chondro life, buddy.
Yeah, man, I got a taste of the chondro life. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna leave it be. I'll keep the male. He's super cute. It's like a goddamn cartoon character, and I'll just keep him as a pet. And when I get a girl, I'll get a girl. No one sells girls by themselves.
Exactly.
You know, it's like $800 for a female with the purchase of a $300 male. And I'm like, I can't do it. I just can't. So I figure I'll hang on to him because, like I said, he's stupid cute. He's like a goddamn cartoon character.
Someone on loan or something?
I mean, I guess, but I don't know. I'll just keep the cartoon character. Whatever. What's one more mouth, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure someone will come around with a lone female that, you know, they don't want anymore, and maybe we'll get to pop his cherry. Who knows?
He's waiting anxiously.
He's waiting anxiously.
Be a Nick Cannon.
Yeah, he too can be a Nick Cannon. Well, not with my pocketbook. With my pocketbook, he's gonna be a one-woman man. So, oh yeah.
That's fun.
How many babies do you think Deadpool has sired in his lifetime?
Definitely more than Nick Cannon, I'll tell you that.
You think it's in the hundreds?
Let me try to think. Okay, hold on. So I want to say he's been breeding for me. Yeah, definitely in the hundreds.
Hundreds, plural.
Well, no, I don't think it would get. I think it's like
a few hundred, perhaps.
A few hundred, yeah.
Yeah,
a few hundred.
Because I mean, you figure
not like 500. Yeah.
Yeah, you figure,
but like a few hundred.
If he's been producing for 10 years, and let's say he does. Let's say, being modest, he produces 48 babies a year, which is probably more.
No, it's around there because I would I would put him up to with like 3 females is the most I'd ever put him with.
Okay.
And some seasons I'll even do 2. Like this season, he's with 2 females. Okay. Because I also don't want to like oversaturate that, because
of course,
but but yeah, so but definitely like in the hundreds.
Okay.
I would say between 100 and 200, honestly. Yeah.
Okay. Still epic, man.
Yeah. No, I have other geckos that definitely produce way more than that.
Oh, really?
Like crested geckos that have like 5 females or 4 females, and like year back to back to back.
Oh my god, dude! Who's better than him, right? Well, Amy's Reptile Adventure has a question for you. She asks, what makes a better pet as far as all-around care and husbandry, gargoyles or chihuahuas?
Ooh, so the initial cost of a gargoyle is much better, much lower. So I always factor that in because I always think like somebody that's getting a pet might not want to spend $1,500 on a chihuahua. You could get nice chihuahuas nowadays for like $450, $550, like really nice ones, but it's still a lot of money. For like $200, you could get like a nice gargoyle gecko too. But as far as like handleability, I don't know. I think they're both like equal, honestly. I think a chihuahua are naturally so chill, especially when they get a little bit bigger. And the cool thing I like about the chihuahua is that when you feed them crickets, they're like hunters. Like they snipe down and they're so accurate and they hunt down all the insects, because compared to like crested and gargoyles, they're more like opportunistic feeders and they'll wait and then catch something that like sneaks by them. But chihuahua are like actively looking to hunt stuff. So if you like that, I will go with chihuahua. If you want something red, I would go with like a gargoyle. Just because the reds on gargoyles are unmatched right now, as far as geckos go. But I don't know. They're like neck and neck. Just depends on your preference, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like it really does come down to personal preference of like your aesthetics. Like, if you like the mossy tree lichen, tree bark look, then you go with the chewy. If you like the crazy cryptic patterns and zigzags and flame patterns, then you go with the garg.
Yeah, exactly. Because as far as like handleability and like husbandry goes, it's pretty like identical, pretty much. So just a few things that set them apart. That's kind of gonna be depending on the person.
Are they different islands in the wild? Are they same region? Like,
so Chihuahua. So there's mainland Chihuahua, and then there's Chihuahua, the Isle of Pine Chihuahua, and there's a couple other ones. But the most popular one, especially right now, are the Pine Island Chihuahua, which is like the biggest insular island off of the coast of New Caledonia. And the gargoyle geckos are mostly, at least back when they found them, they were mostly found in the mainland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting from a natural history point of view, and like, filling that niche in that part of the forest. It's hard to have 2 of the same size animal going after the same size prey.
Yeah, they say gargoyles are gecko eaters. Like they're heavy gecko eaters, and whenever I have stillborns, I'll offer them to the gargoyles and they'll take them. But I've never had I've never had, to this day, never had a chihuahua take a stillborn gecko.
Okay.
And every now and then, like I'll try again, and I'll try with a different one, and I'll try different species of gecko. Maybe I'm like, maybe they just don't want like a baby gargoyle. Maybe I'll try a baby crusty, and they never take it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Not to get morbid, but we've talked about this on this show before. How do you feel about breeding something like cresties that are so prolific and are very abundant in the pet trade? How do you feel about breeding them as a feeder? Yeah.
I'm not one to get like offended or anything like that about that kind of stuff. I think that if you look at it objectively and you think, okay, well, if you think about it, actually, a mouse is much more intelligent than a crested gecko. You'd have more reason to not breed a mouse over a crested gecko. But people start to, they start to think, well, like they think about their pet gecko when people do stuff like that.
It's very emotional.
Yeah,
thinking with emotions, and we get that.
Yeah,
our whole thing was there's so many species that we try to keep that are not rodent feeders or they're not insect feeders, and they want a lizard, whether it be a desert species or a tropical species. Whether it's something that's eating smaller versions of its cousin species in the desert, or it's a larger gecko eating something like a lychee eating a cresty in the wild or something like that. And
very common.
We have snakes that we're scenting and we're rubbing in a null on a pinky to give it to a snake that wants to eat the anole, but we're not going to give it the anole. And like, I understand that, feeder lizards are expensive, and, going out and catching anoles or buying anoles is expensive for some of those snake species. But if someone did have an operation where they were breeding, say, cresties and utilizing them correctly and freezing them or whatever, I don't know.
I know people that do that, like not that freeze them and but that feed them to some of their other animals.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm like, I don't. It's hard for me to do because there's more value in a crested gecko alive than it is as a feeder for me.
Sure.
If I had an animal that only ate like lizard feeders or something, I'd be better off just going outside and catching a bunch of anoles real quick.
Yeah. We have the option to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't make sense for me, but I can't fault somebody that would do it to feed their animal, especially when we consider, so many other feeders that are much more intelligent than a crested gecko or
sure.
Yeah.
When I had Amy I was really trying to find binos geckos to start a colony to basically feed baby bino geckos to Amy, which is a naturally occurring thing in the wild, as a form of enrichment, as a form of supplement, maybe like give a female one before egg cycles and stuff like that. But then bino geckos went from being like $50 to like $250, and I just I couldn't do it. I like you said, it was a I hate to
That's
say
a wagyu steak right there.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't do it, man. I just couldn't. So I'm still happy. And now I know people. I don't have Amy now, so
I know people that will breed that used to breed Pictus geckos to feed to their gargoyles, or not that that's natural, but it's like it was a cheap feeder gecko that they could use, or mourning geckos because there's just so many of them. But especially with gargoyles, like they're lizard eaters, man. Like when you look at the gargoyles have very like serrated teeth, and they're bigger teeth than any other New Caledonian gecko compared to their size. So and they're like shaped like this, like to hold something, like little hooks. So they have a really good feeding response for geckos in particular. And actually, I had my biggest pair of lychees took a year off. Last year they took a year off, and I started feeding them baby quail, and man, they took them right away without hesitations.
Really?
And Yeah, like day old quail, and I hit it with like one. I'm like, oh, let me try this, and like they took it like way quicker than any gecko I've offered.
And this is just like frozen thawed on tongs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they took it, and I'm like, wow, that's weird. And I gave them like 5, and it was like bang, 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 bang. And you know what? And then this year, I did that like at the end of last year, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna give a couple more quail to this female. And now this year, she's been cranking eggs again.
Nice.
And in the wild, the GTs, the larger species. So I will say that the smaller species of the giant geckos are not species. The smaller locales of the giant geckos weren't taking the quail, but when I tried it with the grand tears, the GTs, the biggest ones, they were taking them, and they are the ones that live way high up in the trees, and they nest inside of a tree hollow, and they'll the adult pairs will live inside of a tree hollow together. They come out, they feed or whatever, then they come back to the same tree hollow. But I'm also wondering if they go invade bird nests and eat the eggs or the babies or whatever, because that feeding response that I saw was so crazy.
Wow.
It might be anecdotal. It was like, I don't have that many GT pairs, but they took them like quick, man.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's a hell of an observation. And you have the ability to take, whether it be a cork round or something, you could probably go buy a bird's nest from the arts and crafts store or something, stick a couple day-old quail in there and see if they eat them without the tongs.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Or like, and then have you ever tried like finch eggs or quail eggs?
I haven't tried feeding them quail eggs, but that it might be a good idea to try that, see how they react.
Yeah, man. Even if you did the same thing, got like the fake bird nest, or I mean, you don't even have to. You could probably just get a handful of straw and just stick the eggs in there, see if they go for them. See if it's an enticement of some kind. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of like my monitors go crazy for quails, dude.
Oh, I believe it.
Like they love rats and stuff. But when they see the quail, it's like they go bonkers.
Yeah, man. Everything likes a bird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy just thinking about certain species that, like for example, the starry knobtail, the stellatus. If you look at scientific papers of the dietary, like they cut open wet specimens and see what the geckos were eating, it's almost all spiders. And like, we're not going to feed spiders in captivity. Like, no one's going to breed spiders to feed their knobtail. Like, that's not going to happen. But if you had something like Asian vine snakes that eat anoles or eat lizards of some kind, obviously anoles are a different continent, but you know what I mean? It just makes sense. So something like the big island lychees eating baby birds, like they're probably meant to do it.
Yeah. I might do that. That'd be a cool YouTube video now that I think about it.
It would. I'm telling you, man, just go to like Hobby Lobby or Michael's or whatever, or even some of like I think like Pet Supermarket or PetSmart sells the little finch bird nest with the 2 wires and like you hang it on the side of the bird cage.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, get one of those little cheap nests, pull the wires off the back, stuff in a couple day-old quail and leave it in there overnight. See what they do. Or a couple quail egg from Publix.
Yeah. No, we have quails here.
Oh, you're breeding quail?
Yeah, we breed quail.
Oh, dude, you're killing it, man.
Yeah.
Killing it. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna try that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And no, Mike Gillen, it wasn't for the Brawlers, it was Amy Asper and whatever the Queensland species now is called, Araganaga or something. Yeah, but oh man,
that were eating the spiders.
No, our buddy Mike Gillen up in Canada, he was asking about the gecko eating knobtails, and it's it's all the larger complex, so that we call the Asper complex. So Amy Shea Asper and whatever the
I didn't know that that they ate geckos, dude.
Oh yeah. Well, it's got to be an adult and it's got to be a small gecko.
Right, of course.
But yeah, when you get those big pit bull geckos, man, dude, they're gonna scarf down some Gaira and some what's the velvet geckos? Odora.
Yeah, Odora.
Oh yeah, scarf.
Those are cool. But aren't those in a different? Those are in Queensland, right? The Odora,
so
and they're in the cliffs.
Yeah, there's several different species, but like for example, I don't know if I know Asper's eaten Odora species, but I don't think Amii does.
But aren't Odora like in the cliffs, like all the way up there?
There's some smaller species that like live on grass, like
Strophaurus.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. And dude, some of the Shei in the Northern Territory, they're on the sides of cliffs and stuff too. So who knows? Yeah. Wild stuff. But well, gentlemen, we're at that 2-hour mark. Smitty, anything else you want to pick his brain about?
I think we covered it.
Nice. Well, David, thank you so much for coming on. It was I know. We gotta figure something out. We gotta get we gotta go somewhere and plug in somewhere, satellite or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We gotta do a live podcast at a cigar bar or something.
Dude, I'll set it up. Don't tempt me with a good time.
Let me know whenever Smitty's in town.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I want to get down that way. I have family in Loxahatchee, so.
Oh, do you really?
Dude.
Yeah.
Even better. I just found I went to eat out. I was out eating, and then I'm like, I pulled out of the driveway and I see like cigars, and I'm like, I need a cigar for tonight, and I'm just low on cigars, so I'm like, let me stop by, and it's a really nice cigar lounge. So I was like, fuck, dude, this is where I'm coming next.
Yeah, you gotta let me know where that's at. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, because my girl lives up a little south of you, and then her family lives literally like down the street from you. So we definitely gotta hang out more.
Yeah, whenever you come around here, let me know. Give me some heads up.
Yeah,
and we
gotta go to that
check out.
Yeah, it's Cigar Lounge.
Yeah.
For sure. So, well, I know a lot of people have all of your social media, but for the people that don't, you want to give us a rundown where people can get a hold of you, where people can find you?
Yeah. So the best place to find us, I always say, is through our office phone. So you could go to our website or our email. Our website is tikisgeckos.com, and there'll be a contact us place there. We get back to you pretty quick there. But we're also on Instagram as Tiki's Geckos 2.0, not Tiki's Geckos anymore. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Everything is Tiki's Geckos with 1K.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a good show. I appreciate you coming on, man.
For sure, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
As always, this episode is brought to you by blackboxcages.com, Facebook, Instagram. Need a rack, need a cage. Shop around. Use code THN24 at checkout. Save even more and choose the pickup option and just grab your stuff and then enjoy it. Don't have to worry about FedEx or UPS playing games with your packages and destroying them, even though, as Phil can attest, some of the best packaging.
It's the best packaging of any reptile enclosure I've ever purchased. And Tiki knows, him and I have cut open pallets of Exoterra, cut open pallets of Zilla and Zoomed, and seen how they package stuff from the warehouses, from the factory over in Sweden or whatever the hell they make those things. And Black Box smokes them.
Coldbloodedcaffeine.com. Get that coffee. The Rowexican blend.
No,
it's
not
Snakes and Stogies blend.
No.
Many other blends to choose from.
It's Moanda.
Yeah, Moanda.
Moanda, right?
I think that's what it said.
I don't know.
Mehiawanda.
Either way, you won't be disappointed. Whether it's the Snakes and Stogies blend or many of the other awesome options to choose from, grab you some. coldbloodedcaffeine.com, and then Fulvius Apparel, hats, mugs, bookmarks, hoodies, shirts, all that good stuff. Use the code THN at checkout there and get 15% off your order. It's the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. We are not doing THP Thursday because it's Halloween. Got to take Jake trick-or-treating. He's dressing up like a fireman this year. So
is he really?
It's going to be adorable.
Just shirtless with a plastic hat.
No, he took him to Walmart and he picked him out a little costume and stuff, and it'll be good.
Does he fit in a child's extra large?
Probably.
Just everything's just a capri.
Yeah.
Just a crop top and a capri. We love you, Jake.
No, but we are trick-or-treating that night. I'm not, but my child is. So we're not going to
dress up with your kid.
I think I'm been told that I'm dressing up as a ghost with a sheet and stuff. So
that's actually really funny. That's really funny.
I'm along for the ride, dude.
Are you gonna cut the chest out and put googly eyes on your nips? Just
walk
around?
Nope.
Okay.
I was planning to just look like a normal ghost.
Weak.
I don't know. That's weird. But I think we are going to attempt to do an Arachnerds episode Wednesday night, and then I think Jake and Sky had talked about maybe doing Flippington Friday night. So we'll see. Stay tuned because those may be happening. I don't know for sure yet what's going on. Depends on if we can nail down a guest for Wednesday night. We've had one we've been talking to. We just got to see if he's free. So,
all right.
Other than that, business as usual. We will see everybody later. Thank you for hanging out.
Go listen to the newest episode of Arachnerds. Yours truly was a guest.
He was. Got me looking at more scorpions.
Dude, I've been scorpioning out lately. And then Anthony, we were talking about him earlier, sent me that one picture of that kid who's got the giant Swammerdami in his arm. And he's like, is this real? And I was like, yeah, I used to have one. I did a picture of mine. It's like this big. Fuck. It's not the same. Damn it.
Just use your imagination.
Pretend it was bigger.
One day. Yeah.
So I tell all the ladies.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, everybody have a good evening. We will see y'all later.
Bye.